Hello, in this lecture series we are going to talk about design patterns which are very specific to distributed systems. So in this one we will be discussing several design patterns related to distributed systems. So first we will be discussing all single node distributed design systems. So what is single node design systems is like you will be having only one node. Inside that node you will be running multiple pods depending upon requirement. We will be all talking about the federation and all those things related to these pods only. So the main idea behind this is you will be having only one node, different pods will be running in that node, and then they will be talking to each other, handling several responsibilities and all those things. So now let's try to find out that what is the design pattern today we are going to discuss. Today we are going to discuss sidecar design pattern. In this one we'll be discussing what is sidecar and we'll be taking one example. We will try to see that how it cannot be solved without sidecar, or it will be difficult to solve without sidecar. So in sidecar, it's as its name suggests that you will be having a car and then you will attach a kind of a small attachment to it, which will be being pulled by this car, or it will be using the same resources which this car was earlier using. So suppose you will be having inside this one engine, then you will be having fuel and all those things. Everything will be whatever the resources this car having, it will be shared by this car as well. So in this one you will be having one application container which will be your main container, and then you will be having another smaller or the similar size container which you will be using for sidecar. So now let's try to find out that why we need sidecar. So what happens, sometimes there are some constraints or difficulties using which your main application may not be able to fulfill, and for that purpose what you need is you want to have some another smaller container running in parallel to the your main application so that your requirements are fulfilled. So what it will do is it will be sharing all the resources as we said in the example of our actual car. So it will be running on the same machine, it will be sharing same file system, it will be having same network and other namespace related things also it will be sharing. So let's try to find out that an example or one case where the sidecar will be used. So what we can see is, suppose you have one legacy application is running already and it is running on HTTP. As we all know that encryption nowadays is very much required and all data should be encrypted over network whatever is traveling, because if we see that these examples we can see that this encryption is more necessary nowadays. So if you have an old application running and that does not support HTTPS yet, so what you will be doing? So what you can do is you can have one another container running which will be listening on the same IP with HTTPS SSL encryption enabled, and then it will be transferring all the network traffic to your actual application running. So what you can do is you start your actual legacy application at localhost, and then you start a Nginx sidecar pattern, sidecar container, which will be listening to the actual IP at HTTPS, and then it will be transferring all this traffic to your local system. And we all know that as these are inside a single system, single network system, and locally this data here is only traveling at HTTP. So your network team will be network security team will be fully agreeing with, as there is no security inside your local network, and all the intranet things are happening over HTTPS. So what will this will solve is, you don't have to migrate your local things to any of the new server or new build system and all those things. As we all know that this service was running old and there is no build system available, and you know that as soon as you touch this service is gone forever, and it will take a lot of time to fix that. You don't want to touch. So by this one, what you have solved is, using sidecar pattern, you have just migrated your service from HTTP to HTTPS. So this will be its basic application thing, where Nginx sidecar container will be running, which will be listening at HTTPS, running in the same machine. Locally it will be transferring all the traffic to your application, which is running at local host on HTTP. So what it will be doing is, internally this traffic will be going over HTTP only, but all the external traffic will be going over HTTPS. So by this, what happens is that sidecar helps, and as they share the same namespace, there will not be any problem contacting to this local host for this Nginx sidecar container which is running.